We're live! Yay!
Oh my gosh. How
I'm so
exciting.
happy that you're here with me today. Now, I'm going to go check to make sure we're actually live on LinkedIn
Okay.
and copy this link in the event for the people who actually said that they were coming in the event. I really feel like LinkedIn has a great potential here of really doing something with these events
Mm-hmm. All
because
right.
tying it to the LinkedIn Live to the actual event would be great.
I got it
And
pulled
we've
up.
got Meg. That's awesome. We got people saying good afternoon. And let's put this here and post.
Say it's still morning for me. Don't throttle
Yeah.
me into the afternoon yet. Or maybe do. I don't know.
So, yeah, we're gonna it's is it noon already? My goodness, time has flown for me today. It is like just whoosh. And I wake up at like 4 o'clock in the morning and go for a walk. So it's like I don't know where the time has gone.
I see you posting so early because I'm an early riser. Like my internal alarm clock will wake me up at 6 o'clock. I was like, I don't even need an alarm. And I was like, I already see that you have posts going. I'm like, wow, she's up there. She's committed. All right.
Oh, well, I try to go for my walk and do my workout first,
Yes.
and so that I don't get distracted by the whole LinkedIn because I try to get inspired by people, especially if I don't know what I'm going to talk about.
Yeah.
Oh, we've got Pizzo from South Africa. That is amazing.
Yes. I went shark cage diving and what do you call it? Skydiving in South Africa when I went a couple years ago.
Wow. Oh, we got Tyrone Perkins. He is awesome. He's over at New Horizons. He's like the most awesome person ever.
Okay, cool.
He just brings sunshine.
Oh.
Yeah. And we've got Akshara. Okay. So I guess we're going to get started. I'm so happy to have you. And of course, I feel like you are everywhere and everyone must know you because it's like Gabrielle left and right. Here she is out in the world. But for those who may not know you, I don't know if there's anyone left,
Oh
but
my gosh.
share a little bit about yourself.
Hype me up, y'all, some more, please. Yes, okay. So my name is Gabrielle Blackwell. I've been working in sales development either as an individual contributor or as a manager, really for the past 5 years. Actually, super excited to announce I accepted a role at Gong. I'll be an SDR manager there starting on Monday. So yeah, I haven't even announced it on LinkedIn. So
That's
uh,
amazing.
yeah, might as well do it now. So I'll have to create a post either today or tomorrow. But I'm trying to think what else I can share. I don't know. I just love being here with this lady Jen right now. We're going to talk about what it means to have ambition and to hold ambition and to grow our ambition. And so these are really the things that I'm focusing on now, which is what's how good can I tolerate my career and my life being. So that's a little bit about me.
That's awesome. And congratulations. That's amazing for Gong. They are so lucky to have you.
Thank
As
you.
I adore you. Your posts about tarot cards and just unique way that you put things into perspective, right? And how you communicate your ideas. You're all about the process and I love that. So,
Yes.
what does embracing your ambition mean for you?
Okay, so I have a story because if I
Okay.
didn't, who would I be? I remember I did a short stint as an account executive at this company called Act On, and I remember my first day as an account executive. There was a woman who probably she's doing sales for 20, 30 years now, so definitely a much more mature salesperson, and so she sends me an article written by the Harvard Business Review. And it's all around, it just says like women lose their ambition after 2 years. And I remember thinking to myself, I'm like, I'm only 1 year, a year and a half into my career. I still have so much more to do. And I remember thinking to myself, like, what would it mean to not have ambition? And like, how much time do I actually have to go and pursue those goals and those dreams? And I would say even a year after that, I think I definitely lost my ambition. I lost almost that vision of where do I see myself going? Where do I see myself heading into? What is it that I'm in service of? And instead, I allowed a lot of like doubt, a lot of fear, a lot of anxiety to settle in, especially as like not only a woman in sales, but like a Black woman in tech sales,
Yeah.
being almost like overwhelmingly surrounded by like middle-aged white men and white women. So I'm like, where is my actual space? Like, what is my place? What am I allowed to be? And so in the past year and a half or so, I've really started to challenge those thoughts around it's not about what other people think that I can do or which spaces they think that I should occupy. It's much more around that question that I ask, how good can I tolerate my career being? How good can I tolerate my life being? And what is it going to require of me in order to realize those things? And a lot of that came down to let me imagine myself as something bigger than I could have ever imagined or anybody else imagines for me. And so like that to me, like that, even that mental exercise is one part of embracing my own ambition.
Okay. And so how have you structured your goals around that? I mean, you got that new position at Gong, which is amazing. So
Hmm.
how did embracing your ambition really propel you forward to be able to get that role and
Mm.
redefine success for you?
Yeah, I think it all the exercise that I went through was definitely a visualization exercise.
Mhm.
Jen and we were just talking before we went live around setting goals. Sorry, like the phone is ringing in the background for me, and so I get so distracted by like outside noises. Um, but I was going through this exercise of like, what is it that I'm really wanting? Like, when do I feel my best? Who am I around, and what am I doing with them or in that space? And so I started to really narrow down on when do I feel like my most alive at work? I love to grow. I love to learn. I love to develop. I love building, coming up with new ideas and seeing them through. So if these are the things that I kind of love, but yet in my workspace, I'm feeling drained. I'm like, am I actually getting an opportunity to go and do those things? And the answer was no, right? So I'm like, all right, well, what kind of company would I need to be a part of in order to be able to um, have that sense of play and fun and joy and like fulfillment and work? I'm like, all right, well, in order to grow and develop, I need to have a company who's focused on growth and development, and they need to have that already built out, and they need to have investments into that. They have to have people responsible for that. And even thinking about in the SDR manager role, right? I'm like, all right, my ambitions include getting into the VP, C-suite level, and so that requires that the organization that I'm a part of is also in alignment with that. So I just got really real with myself, and then I asked the question, what kind of organization is actually going to be able to support my dreams and ambitions? And so one part of that means, hey, where I'm at right now, I'm not able to do that. And I know that, I'm aware of it. There doesn't have to be any judgments around it. And then the next step is what kind of companies, right, are able to support this? And I think even one more step forward is, and what do I need to do to get their attention? So like that was really the exercise. And the what do I need to do to get attention? That was one part, joining different communities, growing out my network, posting on LinkedIn, being comfortable enough to share what
Yeah.
I know in my point of view. It meant also like going out seeking mentors and getting feedback from folks. And this kind of goes back to the networking piece. If somebody might know somebody. So like my mentor through Revenue Collective was connected to the CRO at Gong. So once I was actually in the candidate journey, he's like, hey, I can give you a thumbs up to Ryan, and that might be beneficial. But even that piece around like posting on LinkedIn and building a personal brand, the hiring manager at Gong scrolling through his news feed one day and some of my stuff pops up, and that's what initiated us connecting to begin with. So like these
Oh,
were
that's
the
great.
so these were the very specific things, like the everything from visualization to getting more defined to then scoping out, like basically building out a target list. Like, what is my ideal customer employer? Let me go and find those people, and let me go and see who I can connect with that organization in order to make sure I can carry my dream through.
That's amazing. And I've been looking at the Revenue Collective. I listened to they had a podcast the other day that was Sam Jacobs doing a town hall that was so inspiring. Like I was like, dude, I so want to give you my money, except I'm not ready.
I'm not
I'm
ready. Do
not
it.
ready.
Just do it.
I'm not ready to
It's
hand it
so
over.
good.
But I listened to the entire podcast going, man, we're so close because it was so good. We do have a question here. So
Okay.
curious why this person feels like they lost their drive and ambition. I know
Mm,
there are times in my life where I've lost my ambition, right?
yeah.
And I think it was those times where I felt like I was sort of in a rut. Like I can't impact change for me. I don't know if that's the same for you, but like, okay, I've pulled all the levers I can pull to achieve the best results, but
Yeah.
I'm at this stopgap of there's there's nothing else for me to do here.
Oh my God. That's
so,
it.
so it's like, okay, if there's nothing else for me to do, what am I going to do? Like, how do I move
Yeah.
forward?
Yeah. It's
Is
like,
that the same for you, or is
yeah. So, in terms of like the why this person feel people lose their drive and ambition, Harvard Business Review has a couple of articles on this, right? So there's one part which is showing some kind of survey that they did and the results that came back, which is women's ambition level of drive and ambition after their second year of employment usually declines at a much steeper rate than men. And we can theorize and posturize as to why that is. And one part might be that a lot of the learning and growth opportunities can be how to say this, not necessarily blatantly only for men, but like subliminally only for men. So, for instance, like I don't golf, but if all the executives golf and all the men
yeah,
golf, right, then it's like those are the opportunities to build a relationship. Or if you even if you take a moment and sit back and look at who's being promoted, and it's only men, and you start, and no one has ever said, oh hey, you're a woman and you can't get promoted, but that's just what you're observing. I feel there's all these little signals, like these receptors all over you, that's saying, hey, I can't actually do what I want to do because
mhm,
I don't look like, just optically, I don't look like the kind of people who are getting promoted. So I think that could be one part of it. And then even from my own experience, Jen, you hit it, like, what am I going to do here? I don't think I have any more room to grow, kind of thing. I have it on my LinkedIn profile, Plant Mama. I have so many different plants all around me at all points in time. And one of the things that's happening right now is all the plants that I got last year are starting to outgrow their pots. So they're becoming root bound or pot bound. And so what ends up happening is like you have these like really beautiful, illustrious green kind of colored plants that are now having like yellow, dingy leaves growing, and they end up curling up and dying. The plant is essentially suffocating itself because it has nowhere to go. So it's not about the plant, it's about the pot, it's about the container that it's in. So if you think about that and use that as an analogy even for yourself in the workspace, meaning, hey, I'd say the burning out. That to me is the experience. It's like the burning out, running out of options, running out of energy, running out of ideas, becoming almost, a victim of the situation rather than recognizing and taking ownership of, you have a choice to go and find the places that will allow you to expand even more. So like that to me is kind of the explanation of like, why do people lose their drive? Why do people lose their ambition? It's because we lose sight of the fact that we have a choice in our growth and our learning and our development, and it's not completely dependent upon the organization that we just so happen to be an employee of at that time.
yeah. No,
That's my rant.
that analogy is amazing. That's like the perfect analogy because I felt that. Like I can't grow. I can't like
Yeah.
I'm one of those people who's always learning and always like trying. I like to try new things. And even if
Yes.
it's going back to basics or whatever
Hmm.
it is, as long as I'm changing and adapting
Yep.
and doing new things, I'm a very, like I just I like a fast pace.
Yeah.
So if there's nothing for me to do and no place to go, just like that pot,
Mhm.
that's such a great analogy.
There's
So we have a
yeah, there was
comment
something
here.
else. Can I share one more thing?
Yeah,
'Cause there's
yeah.
something else here about ambition. So I was right before we got on our call today, I was reading through another Harvard Business Review article, and it was talking about just like ambition and what it means for a woman. And one key piece they talked about with ambition, there's two parts of it. There's one is the mastery of skill, right? Or the pursuit of mastery. And the second part of ambition that's even that might be even more important is the recognition of the mastery of skill. So if we find ourselves in environments or around people where we are, even if it's just for fun, like, hey, I just like to learn because I like to learn, or if it's, hey, I want to be masterful. I want to like go through the experience of becoming an expert. There is that longing, there's that wanting, right? Or there's that need to be fulfilled through recognition. So if we're in spaces that aren't recognizing our pursuit of mastery, that can also inhibit our ability to really embrace our ambition.
That's a really interesting point. And I have an experience. We should go to some of the comments.
Okay, cool.
But
Yeah.
I could decide whether I want to share this experience. So Alex says, people are so willing to help when you lead with kindness, value, and being genuine. Great story here. That is very true. We've got Ben Haber, great golf example, something men like myself need to be conscious of. On a less serious note, I'm not about golf either. I'm not about golf. One time, one of my prospects wanted to meet me to go play golf because I used to sell accounting software back in the day. And it was pretty classic that a CEO would want to go play golf. And man, I wanted this deal bad. And I was a driving range, and I'm awful at golf. Like,
I could do basketball, I could do volleyball. I was like, as soon as you start including like an extra accessory, a bat, a racket, if I need to hold something other than a ball, I'm done for.
Yeah, I mean, talk about creating like a bad buyer experience. Take me to go play golf.
Yeah. I'm like, how about we just drink martinis instead?
No, that was awful. So, we do have another question here.
Okay.
Akshara, so how do you motivate yourself to get outside of your comfort zone?
Ooh, for me, okay, so I have a cousin, an older cousin, and so she's talked about change in two different contexts. The first context is people change because they want to change, or people change because they have to change. I was the kind of person who had to change because I'm a hard-headed, stubborn individual. And it took me recognizing that the things that got me to where I was, let's say 3 years ago, were the things that were keeping me or that were holding me back from like where I'm at today. So one part of it was really, again, interrogating my thoughts, interrogating my actions, interrogating my beliefs and my behaviors, and trying to understand, like, are these actually getting me to where I want to be and see myself being, or are they keeping me small? So I think that was like one thing where I realized, all right, if I stay in my comfort zone, I'm just going to stay small. I'm not going to be able to realize my dreams. And when I say stay small, I mean like not speak up. Like it means not advocating for myself. It means not asking for as much money as I think that I'm worth. It means staying in places that are going to pay me less than what I actually deserve. So like that to me was the train, like that was the line of thinking that I went through that motivated me to get outside of my comfort zone. I think the other way of thinking about this, maybe in a more positive light, is, hey, like there's this thing that I want to go get, and asking the question, what is required of me in order to realize that? And if that means, oh, I need to make a change, I need to get outside my comfort zone, like, okay, let me do that. And maybe I'm going to go and seek like guidance or advice or counsel or get a mentor who can help me in that journey. So I'm not just alone and trying to like try new things.
Yeah.
I mean, water.
I think this comes down to like your why, right? Your why is to be of service, right? To be growing and to be of service to others. My why is my kids and my, being of service, being a servant leader, but also like amplifying the voices of others and making sure that, people are in places where their voices are celebrated and everyone can share ideas, right? So those are part of my whys. So I think for me, getting out of my comfort zone is making sure that my impact is greater than myself. So even if I change someone's mind about women in sales or about inclusive environments or culture ad versus culture fit,
Yeah.
That ripple effect will impact my daughter years down the
Yeah.
road.
You gotta
And
figure out what drives you. I think it all comes down to know yourself. Like,
yeah,
know
right?
thyself. Yeah.
This is who I am. This is what I bring to the table. This is my value. And, I
Yeah.
want to be of value to others and help others, right? And
Mhm.
how do I do that? And where are the places where I can make the greatest impact
Mhm.
for not only the organization, but for the people within it, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's what
Yeah.
that's
There's another
Erin.
little Yeah, so there's another little exercise that I would recommend if people aren't already trying this. And so this is what I do with myself when I was like, all right, I need to like go and try something new, or I need to get outside my comfort zone. And I'm like, no, don't do it. I start to visualize myself as a little kid. So I have like my inner child in my mind's eye, and then I come in at my 29-year-old self who knows a lot more than my 7-year-old self, and I go and I tell that little girl the words that she needs to hear most in order to help her take that next step forward. So like these are like little tiny things, little exercises where if you do those every time you want to try something new, it's going to have such a compound effect over the course of 3 months. You could, like for me, I feel like I was able to like change my lifestyle, or I'm about to anyways with this move. And the thinking that I had in terms of getting out of my comfort zone, example is posting on LinkedIn. That was 3 months ago, and that leads me to a job opportunity of my dream. So like there's just little tiny things that you can do to encourage yourself to get outside the comfort zone.
Yeah, and I think that's a great example. I haven't ever used that strategy, but I'm gonna have to try to use it. I've been working up to doing rap, prospecting rap over there. James Buckley and
Ooh,
Shannon Sellis over there have been doing some rap on LinkedIn.
that's
And
awesome.
man, I spent like a weekend working on rap, and
Oh my
I have
god,
no rhythm. No,
that's
I like got
awesome.
downloaded beats. I'm like,
Get
and I
it.
got and I love Eminem, and I can't. I like it.
That's
Like now, it's
awesome.
like comedy videos for me to watch when
Yeah,
I'm feeling really uncomfortable. Um,
I'm convinced.
so we have a question
Oh,
here.
go ahead. Yeah.
So, how do you respond to people professionally and personally who try to invalidate your ambition? That's a great question.
Is it worth responding to them? That's my first question. It's like,
Yeah.
is it worth responding to them? Um, so, but that's my knee jerk response. I think. So I'll get very tactical here. I think there's in response to this question, right? So I'm gonna imagine maybe I'm sharing with a boss. Like this is a real life example. I had a boss, and who he would just assign me projects over and over again. He had me doing other people's work, and those other people were getting promotions, and I was not. And so
I
I
know that one.
wanted, yeah. So I'm speaking to my boss at the time, or my boss's boss, wherever he was in the hierarchy, and I was like, you know what? I see myself as being able to, like, I'm already making a huge impact as it is. As a manager, I'm carrying two roles, like sales development, sales enablement. And so I would like to understand how I can, like, how my pay and my title could better reflect the scope of my responsibilities. And so it was almost like he like scoffed at me. And then I had another person who's like, you've only been in the role for a year. Like it's almost like, who are you to ask? And how I responded was, let me do more, let me overcompensate. It's like, all right, if I just show them how hard I'm working, if I show them how much value I can provide, at some point in time, they're going to wake up to it. Some people aren't built for that. And these people weren't. They weren't built to see me as more. They're like, you need to do this one specific thing that we are asking you to do, the end, and don't come to me with anything else. So I think if you're dealing with someone like that, accept that they're this way. And then again, it goes back into knowing yourself. What is it that you're needing in this moment? Do you need to have a boss who's going to validate you? Do you need a boss who's going to recognize the work that you've put in and who will also create a path forward and partner with you on what that looks like and how to manage the expectations? So if you're not getting that experience, accept it and know that that's what you need, and then go out and find those experiences. So I think the other like any other example is like with my family, right? It's like, all right,
Yeah.
I have this goal, I have this dream, and also I have to say this, but like I have a criminal record. So like I remember talking to my grandparents 2 months ago about I was going for this other role, and the first thing that they say to me is, "But Gabrielle, you need to be humble. You need to be this. You need to be that. You have a criminal record." And again, it goes back into, hey, I feel like they feel whatever they feel. For me, I have a vision, I have a drive, and I also have a belief in myself. And I think the best thing that I can do is just realize it, and then they'll believe once that time comes. But I'm not responsible for changing somebody else's opinion when it comes
Yeah.
to like what I'm capable of.
No, and I definitely know that feeling that going to your boss and like working so hard that you're always trying to achieve more, like you're trying to prove something.
Mhm.
And that at the end of the day, no matter how hard I worked and no matter how many results, like
Mhm.
how much I took on, it was never going to matter
Yep.
because they just were, this is your lane.
Yeah. I have
And
this thing I tell myself now is, into other people too, is if you want a different response, change your approach. That's it. So like if you want a different response from somebody and you keep on trying the same thing over and over again, seems like an Einstein quote of like, this is insanity, right?
yeah,
So try a different approach. And so for some people that might mean, hey, like I'm not in the right environment. I don't have the boss that I'm actually needing, and that's okay. Get the person, like the person who's like the person for you is out there.
yeah,
um and then there's the other part of it, which is, some people aren't meant to support you in your journey to that next step, but they will celebrate with you when you get there, and that's okay too.
yeah. No, that's okay. So we've got lots of comments here.
Yeah.
So that's great. Thank you so much for answering. Oh, they'll try out what we recommend. That's awesome. Akshara. That's
Get it.
amazing. So let's see what else we got here. So true, truly appreciate the transparency. Yes,
Anytime.
it is. And I love that word, transparency, because that's what it's about. It's like keeping it real. Where are you? Are
Hmm.
you getting everything you need out of the space? And have you looked outside to determine what success means for you and what will
Yeah.
make you happy?
Yeah.
How do you define your own happiness?
I was just thinking back through like even high school and like idiot teachers. And I'm gonna say idiot teacher. I don't think teachers are all idiots. I'm gonna say idiot
Yeah.
teachers who were purposely discouraging. Like
Hmm.
they wanted to discourage, they wanted to disempower, they wanted to demoralize. And there are people who are out there who are like that, whether they want to, like that's just like how they're built and how they're wired, or if it's just people who just do that because they've never been exposed to anybody who could encourage them. So they're just like passing on, like all of these kind of like traumatic experiences to the other people. Like we don't have to waste our time with those folks, right? Because again, like I feel like with ambition, it's almost like a baby. Like you have to
Yeah.
protect the baby, you have to nurture the baby, you have to feed the baby. And so if you're putting the baby in dangerous situations because you're around discouraging folks or a discouraging environment, then like your ambition is going to suffer. So like, I don't know, like embrace it, take care of it, own it, let it grow, let
And
it flourish.
don't let any of the limiting beliefs
Oh
of
my gosh.
others
Yes.
impact it. Because it's
Big
so
time.
easy when
Mhm.
someone tells you something discouraging for you to say, yeah, that's true. Let me go, hide under a blanket and stay in my little, cocoon.
Yes.
Or you could say, okay, that is your limiting belief, and you have these limiting beliefs for whatever reasons, and I'm
Mhm.
not about that.
Yeah. I like to tell people
So
now, I go, that's an opinion. I'm just gonna go, that's an opinion. All right.
you're entitled to it.
Yeah,
Good
yeah,
luck with that. Move
yeah.
on. So Aaron Bell says, how are you so awesome? Well,
Come
you're
hang
pretty
out with
awesome too,
you.
Aaron.
Yeah.
So we've got Dennis who said, normally I don't listen to other people's opinions. I always believe in my self to succeed. Yeah. I mean, that's what you got to do.
Mm.
And that, Gabrielle, is your secret sauce. Puts you to a whole different level from Catherine.
Thanks, Catherine.
And Gerdeline. My ambition is is on full flourish mode, especially after this talk. That is
Let it
amazing to hear,
bloom. Here we go.
right? I
Yes.
love the plans.
Yes.
The idea that you can achieve whatever you want, and that, to really let go of anyone else's
Mhm.
perceptions.
I just think we're hard,
So,
like, we as human beings, any living thing in this world is hardwired and built to grow. So, like, if
mhm,
that's not happening, where I think there's an opportunity to, like, almost, like, check the wiring. What's going on here? Is it a limiting belief? And is that belief something that is truly yours or something that you heard from somebody else and that just, like, seeped inside of you? And then
mhm.
after that, it goes back to, like, that inner child work, which is, hey, there was somebody or some experience where you made an agreement to limit yourself to keep you safe. Is that keeping you safe now, or is it keeping you small? And so now, like,
Mhm.
now that we're adults, now that we got bills and stuff and we can't blame all our problems on our parents anymore, like, I think that, like, getting to know ourselves, getting to know the inner child, getting to know what brings that, like, inner child joy and happiness and fulfillment and things like that, like, that's one way of embracing the ambition, right? And also helping to bring it out even more.
Yeah, no, that 100%. And this has been amazing. Um, if you were to say your three key pieces of advice, right,
Mm.
for embracing your ambition, what are the three things you would say?
Ooh, I'd say number one, know thyself. And I say the exercise, one exercise to go about understanding yourself more is to take note of how you answer these three questions. Daily basis, every other day, just consistently over the course of maybe 1 or 2 months, which is, when do I feel like my best self? When did I feel like my best self today? What was I doing? Who was I with? So, I, and then pay attention to those results. What are the themes and the trends that are coming up? And so this goes into point two. And then once you have an understanding of what are the things that bring you joy, that bring you peace or fulfillment or whatever it is, these, like, kind of higher level, higher vibration emotions, right? How do you insert more of that into your experience, into your engagement? And then I think, like, the third piece here is, like, be aware of the folks around you. Like, who are the folks who are making you feel good, who are hyping you up? Like, know that, like, and understand who they are and what it is that makes them that way. What are the characteristics that they're demonstrating to you? And then also be aware that, like, not everybody's opinion is actually true for you, and that's okay.
Yeah, no, those are amazing, amazing, insightful tips there.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad you joined me. This was such a great conversation.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. So, thank you everyone for joining us. We just went a couple minutes over, but I hope you found value out of it. I know I did. I think I'm going to go back and start knowing myself a little bit more about, where I've been the most engaged. I've done some of this work before, but you can always, like, always, like, growing
Yep.
is always sort of reevaluating yourself, I think. And
Mm.
I'm all about doing that on a regular
Ugh,
basis.
do it. I
So,
love it.
thanks everybody. I'm
Yes,
going
thank
to
you.
bye.